how did you figure out what the story was for this?
Yeah, so they wanted us to tie in to the other DC animated episode. Sorry, I'm very jet lagged. They wanted us to tie into the other DC animated films, so we had to exist within that continuity. And also, they said they really liked things that had a base in comic books, like had a base in comic book lore that we could start from. And I sort of came to Wonder Woman during the Rucka Johnson run. That was my Wonder Woman. And so I pulled a lot of stuff from there. I tried to recraft it into, put my own spin on it and recraft it to a different medium. But I just thought it was so dramatic, and that was a side of Wonder Woman I really wanted to show, and that was a kind of Wonder Woman story I really wanted to tell that I hadn't seen before.
What's the most, pretty much what's a part of those other characters of theirs that you're very happy to be able to maybe hadn't been on the show before?
Let's see. There's a few things. One, I feel like one of the things people don't touch on very often when they do the version of Wonder Woman, she's raised on Themyscira and she's the only child on Themyscira, which is most versions, but there are some different ones. I feel like people always kind of forget that means you're one kid on an island full of moms. Like, everyone's your mom or your aunt, there was sort of a thing where it's like, oh, Wonder Woman, did she sleep? And I'm like, these are people that have known you since you were in diapers. Like, if everyone in your hometown knew you from when you were in diapers, and now you're it's no wonder because, Wonder Woman always has that humble thing where, it's like, you're Wonder Woman, you're the best. And she's like, oh, I'm okay. And it's like, yeah, you have that if everyone there is like, well, you're good now, but I remember when you were 6 and you fell off the horse on your ass, you just couldn't hold a sword straight. I wanted to explore that. It's like the ultimate trying to prove that you're an adult to your parents.
Writing as Diana, do you feel that sense of empowerment that she brings to the character? Do you become that essential warrior, badass, maiden, mom, lover, everything? So you just kind of get your vitality to it, right?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. I try and put on a soundtrack. So I actually got the movie, the live action movie soundtrack, and was listening to it while I was writing. And my husband always jokes because I work from home a lot of the time, so he'll hear me talking in the different characters' voices, and then I'll get you, So I find that actually, if I'm anyone in this movie, I'm probably Dr. Poison or Dr. Cyber. I never really think of myself as the hero. I'm always sort of sarcastic ass bad guy in the background, yeah, I'm here for the money. So, but it is really nice to when you really feel in that flow and you're yeah, this is the best. It's definitely, I've written books in my Batgirl run, and we did an annual that was all about her brother, who's a really dark character and a really dark headspace, and writing that can be really draining and really hard. But writing someone like Wonder Woman and trying to get into that headspace, it really is really empowering. And it was really nice because I'd always wanted to do it. So it was yay, best day at work. Yay, I got to pretend to be a really cool person. I was super into it.
This movie shares the idea of Wonder Woman leaving Themyscira, the live action film does. Were there any challenges when you were writing to kind of maybe pay a little homage to the movie, but also definitely making your own thing?
Yeah, so it's not a true prequel. We do start in Themyscira and then we sort of jump ahead. I wanted, the things that I wanted to do was we knew we had to be in continuity with the other animated movies. We knew we had to tell a complete story, because if this was your first movie you were ever going to see, I wanted you to feel like you could watch it alone. But I also wanted to be conscious that there was a lot of people who were going to have seen the live action movie, and this was going to be their second bite of the apple, so I wanted us to be close enough and set up where we were the same as these two continuities and where we were going to diverge or where we were going to fill in a different way. And I wanted her to feel like she wasn't a totally different person. I also tried to be conscious that although we are a movie for an adults, that it felt like we had a good moral message that if you were a kid watching this, we didn't seem like jerks, you know? And this wasn't just about Wonder Woman's revenge fantasy. This felt like a story that had an inspiring, hopeful message, you know, that I wouldn't feel embarrassed to show like a younger person.
So the target is
I was shooting more towards it. I didn't dumb down any of the violence. I don't personally like ultra violence, so there's not a lot of like, you know, super gory, like pornographic or whatever. I wanted to make the fights feel brutal and the fights feel hard. But it was more about, I wanted to emphasize like, these people these people think Diana's a threat, so they're gonna really try and hurt her, and she's gonna get really hurt, you know? Because I feel like when you have a superhero movie where the hero doesn't really get hurt, where everything kind of bounces off them, it loses some of the heroism, because it feels like there's nothing at stake for them. I wanted you to see Wonder Woman fall and have to keep getting back up and really have to fight for what she wants and what she believes in. But at the same time, I wanted you to feel kind of true to her. Like, one of the things I really loved about the live action movie was that Gal Gadot really showed that gentleness that you don't see a lot in, you know, non-comic versions of Diana, that open-heartedness. And I wanted our Diana to feel like that too. Like, she was a legitimately good person and that she would fight, you know, to the bitter end. But that's never her first choice, and that's never what she wants out of a situation.
I think that you're talking about her weaknesses, comparably to Tower of Babel, the way that Batman plan for her is to take her out is to work so hard that she has a sword to fight out and kill them. What would you think?
Wonder Woman, I would think that what you play against Wonder Woman is her desire to save people. If you have a villain walk up and it's like, nope, I'm just here to kill innocents, like, that's a fight, and that's a fight she's gonna do. But the more you present her with the option that someone could be helped or could be saved, the more effort she's gonna expend and the more risk she's gonna put herself at to try and find an alternate option. So it's sort of like that weird, crud, the best quote is from the other company, so I'm not gonna do that. But it's sort of that thing where, ironically, the best way to stop Wonder Woman isn't to put her back totally against the wall. It's to try and control where she thinks the out is and lead her down that path. Yeah, well, we knew we wanted multiple villains, and we wanted, like, I really love Villainy Incorporated, so we see a lot of villains from that. We also knew that, like, I really loved some of the villains you saw in the live action movies, so I was like, let's throw in some of that. I felt like a lot of people don't know Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery very well, and this was our chance to sort of make more villains shine, instead of investing in, like, one big bad that was going to be, the whole story was going to revolve around, and then they were going to feel like they were done. My strategy was kind of, if we could introduce multiple villains along the way, that would allow people to sort of get to know them and get a sense of who they are, and let me play with more toys. But in a way that, like, if future stories could use this. So I wanted to build out her Rogues Gallery instead of, like, nailing down into one specific character. I love Dr. Cyber, because she's just, especially our version of Dr. Cyber, because she's just so sarcastic, and I like a bad guy. I love conflicted bad guys. I love, bad guys who are there by circumstances, but it's so refreshing, especially for a girl bad guy, to have at least one that's just like, nope, I just don't care about other people. Like, I want mine. Bye. Like, and her and, like, having Dr. Cyber and Dr. Poison and really showing that, like, these are not good people and they don't like each other and they don't work well together, they just work better together than apart, was just a really fun dynamic to play.
So writing this, like, spark any ideas you'd like to perhaps pursue writing for comics?
Man, I'd love to write Wonder Woman in the comics. I actually, it's funny, kind of in reverse, is I had written a short story for Wonder Woman in the comics, the 75th anniversary edition, where she fights Giganta, and I hadn't been able to use everything that I'd wanted, because, we had limited page space. And so when I found out I could use Giganta in this one, I was like, oh my god, I've got so many moves that I want to use now. So I kind of got a second bite of the apple from my comic story in this movie.